Let's get to the money.
Let's get to the
Money.
Let's get to the
Money. Let's get to the motherfucking money.
Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the air screaming fuck the bookies. Woke up in the morning, grab my little black book. Yesterday can eat a dick, cause we lost by the hook. Can't win them all, so you never see me get shook. Today's a new day, the bookmaker's getting cooked. When I spot a dirty K, the 4 units getting played. Always find the value, I would never be afraid. Scared money don't win, but I'm not going all in unless I see a bet I love, then I put my balls on a bookie's chin. Let it all soak in, doubling my bread, winning money with my friends. If you got the itch and you wanna go big, follow Sharpie bets and you gon' really fucking win. This is not financial advice, it's entertainment. But if I find the right price, believe I'm parlaying it. You can see my spreadsheet, I'm winning, not just saying it. Profit in the green every week, I'm never negative. I can bet an ace or a shitty old picture. Pick the right spots cause I'm the K-pop whisperer. Shut up when I speak until you finally get the picture. I'm the best in the world, tell me you getting richer. Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the air screaming fuck the bookies.
Let's get to the motherfucking monies.
And here we go.
And here we go. Welcome again to another edition of the Balking Dad, where, of course, I'm your host, Sharpie's Bets, and there ain't no sleep for the wicked. It's Thursday, guys, and we are coming off a nice 2-0 day, but we're 0-0 today, and that's all that really freaking matters. And I didn't think I was firing today, so I ended up on one straight bet and an alt parlay, so let's just straight get to the damn money, fellas. This show is sponsored by PrizePicks. If you haven't yet, go on over there and use that promo code PUBSPORTS. And on your first deposit, they will match you up to 100, minimum of 25, simply by using the best promo code in the whole wide world. And as you already know, guys, when you win, they want in. And we already got us another sponsor, guys. W, guys, not Doobie. W, a clean energy powder with no come down to your day. Simply by scanning this QR code on screen, you get 10% off your first order by using the best promo code in the world, guys, and that's Pub Sports. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you all for coming, and shout out to the best producer in the whole wide world, Big Show Pigs. Y'all know the drill, guys. Hit the like button if you haven't, and make sure you have them notification bells on. I did start to put timestamps in the comment sections after the show on every pitcher we do talk about and on the recap. So there will be a different timestamp for each one. So on the days that you're busy, don't have time to watch the full show and want to catch a breakdown on just one guy or just on the bets for the day, I will do a little extra to help you guys all out, guys. So make sure you check lineups today. It is moving days because, like last night, they tried to pull a swift one on us with Miller, guys, and flip the projected lineups of 6 right-handed bats and flip it to 5 left-handed bats. Now, it was a sweat or no sweat. He still got us there, guys, but got to pay attention to real lineups on a day like today. We are now 8 to 10 games into the season, guys, so we are now using this year's splits from here on out. We will compare the best line available. Now, we're no longer just going to use FanDuel. We're going to use the first line that pops out, and the closing line will be the best line available. And then we will compare them to what PrizePicks has to offer. We will figure out how to get to the money, guys, on this small card with a couple janky spots. One of these janky spots being is Blake Snell at these Nationals, guys. Number 4 in the black book. 2023's got a 23.8 K percentage with a 13.8 walk percentage. Opening line on FanDuel, 6+ minus 122, and the best line out there right now is 7+ plus 125 on BetMGM. PrizePicks has him at a 6, whereas pitching outs on PrizePicks under over 16.5. The lineup for your Nationals is 6 right-handed, 3 left-handed bats. His splits this year, 11.4 K per 9 at home compared to a 7.3 on the road where he is today, and 11.2 9.2 K per nine versus the left-handed side with a 9.2 K per nine versus the right-handed side. Last year, guys, he did have a K per nine home road that was the same, but the year before he was 2Ks better at home than he was on the road, kind of like how he's looking this year. Small sample size this year versus lefties, guys, but he does have an elite 11.5 K per nine versus the left-handed side, and that matches where he's at now. So that small sample size says he's been doing work to the left-handed side. This is Blake Snell's lowest strikeout rate, guys, since his freaking rookie season back in 2016. So what's wrong with the dude? Well, I looked at his velo. I looked at everything, and everything is on par to last season but his fastball, guys. It's down 1 mile per hour, but it's still at his career average spin rate, guys, and for his career average velo. So it's not too much to put. We can't put too much into that. Now, what can we figure out, guys, is I figured out, guys, is his put away pitch now is his curveball, where last year he used his slider as his put away pitch, and he has an elite 49% whiff rate when he uses that. And he still goes to his changeup just a little bit too damn much, guys. So, what I try to figure out, like, dude, his velo's the same, everything's the same. What's wrong with this guy? Well, what's wrong with him is he's throwing pitches down the dick of the plate, or he's just missing, guys. His fastball and his changeup, which combines for 70% of his pitch mix, has been getting blasted to the tune of a 320 on the fastball and a 270 to his changeup, where last year it was 255 on the fastball and an elite 211 on his change. So what's crazy to say is one of these days, Blake Snell is going to remind us of who the fuck he is. And really, nothing's wrong with him, guys, mechanically wise. When we look at his pitching metrics, it's just Blake Snell is a damn head case, guys, on and off the field, guys. So I'm not going to start guessing when he does turn it around, but I'll be there waiting for that one time when he does, 2 times when he does, then when I could then maybe start to look to betting the man again. Now, this line did open up at a 5.5, and it's now at a 6.5, and it's because the Nationals are fucking idiots, straight up. Why would you put 3 left-handed bats in a lineup where he has a career walk to K rate of 23.4 compared to a 17% from the right-handed side, guys? The fact-wise, career-wise, he's dominated lefties, average slugging, strikeouts, OPS. It just doesn't matter, guys. It's really hard to hit lefty on lefty, and he's shown it with his career numbers, guys. So these guys aren't analytical, and what analytical teams happen, guys, is this team he might end up getting them 9 strikeouts today, guys. And there's no way I can bet him. It's just a straight stay off, guys. I can get it if he goes under, but then again, these dumb cucks went out and loaded up a bunch and put up 3 lefties, which is just, that might be the problem if his under doesn't cash, in my opinion. It's the fact of they put 3 lefties out there. So is what it is. Blake Snell's just a complete stay off, and I can't even recommend the under when they're going to load up 3 lefties. Now we get to talk a spot where I thought I figured something out last night. I was going to stay off of Lucas Giolito, and then it dropped the whole strikeout. And then I was like, oh, I did figure it out. We're going to stay off Lucas Giolito, guys. And let's talk number 47 at the Black Book, Lucas Giolito at the Tigers. This year he's got a 24.4 K percentage and a 4.9 walk percentage. Opened him up last night on FanDuel. 7+ at plus 106. Morning line 6+ minus 132 on FanDuel. And the best line available right now is on Caesars at a minus 127 for the over 5.5. PrizePicks has him at a straight 6, whereas hits allowed on PrizePicks under over 5.5. Projected lineup for your Tigers is 5 lefties and 4 righties. This year he has a K per 9 of 8.5 at home, 9.6 on the road, 8.6 versus the left-handed side, and a 9.3 versus the right-handed side. He does have a career 9.5 K per 9 from both sides of the plate, so he is one of those guys when you do want to run him, you don't have to pay attention to the lineups, guys. He dominates both sides. Now, I didn't think I'd be calling Giolito this guy's 9 games into the year, but he's Mr. Consistent, and that's exactly what he's been. He's one of 4 pitchers this year to go 6 innings or more in 7 straight games, and he's looking to add another quality start to his belt versus these Tigers, who by the numbers over the last 15 days versus right-handed pitchers say they're not striking out. They're at an elite 18.3%, and they're also walking at an elite 11.2%, but they're not hitting the broadside of a barn. Giolito faced these Tigers 5 times last year. The first game of the year, he went 4.1 innings, 0 earned runs, had 6 punchies on less than 70 pitches. With a late start to spring training, guys, last year, no one went deep until middle of May. So no big deal that he went only 4.1 innings. Then he faced them when the numbers said, okay, if you wanted to run it. Not yes, not no, just eh. And he went out there, guys, 6.2 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, and got 8 strikeouts. Then he seen them when the numbers said, hell yes. And he went 7 innings, 4 earned runs with 7 strikeouts. Then he faced them at the end of the year on a back-to-back. He got cracked the first time, only got 5 strikeouts when the numbers said yes to the K-prop. Now we talk about this, guys. We run guys. We look to run a guy on a K-prop on a back-to-back if he didn't hit it the first time. Well, next game on the back-to-back, Gio went and did what Gio did, 6 innings, 3 earned runs with 9 strikeouts. So he does have some great history versus this team. But more often than not, guys, the Tigers were ass last year, and now you're going to be like, what, Sharpie? They're not ass now? Well, they're ass everywhere lately, guys, but other than striking out. Now, let's talk about it, guys. Not saying numbers mean everything, because the way they're hitting, Giolito should be out there, ample opportunities to hit this over. I just think the outs might be the spot in this situation, guys. I may be putting too much into Michael Bedard, but I talked about it at the beginning of the season, and this is the unicorn, fellas. Well, that's his nickname, and he is the new hitting coach of these Tigers and the old hitting coach of the Padres last season and was with the D-backs at one point. And what I'm getting is he's fixed all those teams, guys, and turned them into contact hitting teams. Now, at the beginning of the year, the Tigers didn't look like they do now. They look like last year's Tigers. We're a month and a half into the season, and they are becoming one pesky group of dudes that strike out. I do know one thing about Bedard, and in the spring training, guys, AJ Hinch spoke of Bedard holding the hitters accountable after each game. They go into the game with a game script. If they don't stick to it, he then pulls them aside and asks them why. And they were lacking that big time last year, guys. So it looks like the Bedard factor has come to these Tigers. It put me in a scared factor. Realistically, guys, when I seen the 6.5, I was like, this is a good spot, dude. But historically, but everything's telling me, And when I go look at who they faced in the last 15 days, they faced some dogs, bro. Like Logan Gilbert didn't hit. Tanner Bybee got cracked. Bryce Miller pitched deep into the game, but only had a couple strikeouts. So what I'm getting at, guys, is this team seems to be taking on the Bedard way of hitting. And I get the line move drop, guys, coming down to a 5.5. Now, there's no way I'd want to bet a under on Gio. I don't know why people would. I get it. But this guy should be out there 6 to 9 innings today versus this ass-hitting team. So what? They don't strike out by the numbers. They have allowed some pitchers to go deep. So the only pitcher to hit their K-prop in the last 15 days versus this team is a guy who's only hit his K-prop one time this fucking year, Shane Bieber. Shane Bieber went out there and did the damn thing, guys. So at the end of the day, guys, it's a lean on me for him, but I'd play his outs before I would play his strikeouts because I think he's going to need to go 7 innings to get that 6 strikeouts versus this pesky group of Tigres. Shout out to the 45 Live. If you want me to talk any extra pitchers that I haven't even looked at, let me know. And yes, sir. Appreciate you, Nilo. Keep it coming, my guy. Appreciate you all for showing up. I know a lot of you show up and don't talk in the chat because I'm not the guy who goes through the chat all the time and talks about it. But what I will talk is pitching. If you ever do put a pitcher in there, time permitting wise, I will get to them at the end. Now let's talk a guy. I see my guy Billy Briz in there, and he's his guy. He's my guy. He's our guy. And Nola, as Bobano says. 16 in the black book, Aaron Nola at the Braves. This year's got a 21.3 K percentage with a 5.2 walk percentage. Morning line was 6+ -116 on FanDuel. Now the best line available is on MGM at -120 to the over 5.5. PrizePicks has him at that 5.5 as well, whereas outs, earn run hits were not available on PrizePicks. projected lineup for your Braves is 5 righties, 4 lefties. K per 9 this year, which it is hard for me to put it into comparison, this guy's splits, guys, because as we all know, Aaron Nola's velocity was down for the first 4 or 5 starts, guys. So I think it's 4 or 5, roughly around that area. So hard to take in splits when the guy wasn't his normal self. But he has an 8.8 K per 9 at home with a 6.8 on the road. Also averaging 7.5 K per 9 versus both sides of the plate, even though he does have a 9.8 career K per 9 versus the left-handed side and a 10.2 versus the right-handed side. Like I said, his velo was down and is what it is, so I can't put too much into those type of splits. This is that one game, guys, where the numbers say no, and I was fighting with myself to buck these numbers and to back my boy Nola, and let's just back Nola versus a team where historically he's dominated. These Braves, they're good. Nola, though, good pitching beats good hitting, guys. And where the last season alone, he faced them 5 times. First game, the Braves numbers said yes to the over on a K prop, and Nola went 8.1 innings, 1 earned run with 10 punchies. Then he seen him again with the same type of numbers, and he did the same exact thing. 7 innings, gave up 4 earned runs with another 8 punch outs. And then 4 weeks later, when the Braves numbers still said play the over on Nola, and again, Nola went out and delivered 6 innings. He did give up 5 earned runs, but he did end up with 7 strikeouts. Then he finished it up with at the end of the year versus these Braves on a back-to-back. We all know back-to-backs are tough, guys. No, not for this man, guys. He went out there the first game, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. Next game, 7 innings, 8 strikeouts. At the end of the day, guys, he has owned this team, whether the numbers have said yes or whether the numbers have said no. And when we go look at their numbers now, it doesn't say go gadget K prop right here, guys. They're walking below league average at a 7.4%, and they're striking out league average. Yet they are bottom 5 in batting average in OPS, yet they are middle of the pack ISO. Now, it's hard to put a lot in the Nola splits, like I was saying, because, excuse me, the first few games of the season, his velo was down. But it's been back and has started to look like the guy we have come to bet on. Even though, guys, his fastball hasn't been up to par with prior years, whiff and put away percentages, and all his other pitches are on par, he's still starting to use his fastball less now, guys, and incorporate his cutter now more than he's ever actually used it. He's now a 5-pitch pitcher, guys, with the fastball and curve being the main 2 pitches. Now, if we look who the Braves have seen in the last 15 days from the right-handed side, they saw Logan Gilbert. He went 6 innings, 9 strikeouts. Bryce Miller went 6.1 innings with 4 strikeouts. Eovaldi went deep, 7 innings, 5 strikeouts. Chris Bassett went even deeper, 9 innings with 8 strikeouts. Berrios, he did only get 3 strikeouts and 5.2 innings of work. And now we get Nola, guys, where Nola's win percentage to the over 5.5 this year, and going back to his last 10, because he's only played 9, is at 40%. So the fact they're even juiced, guys, hooked to the 5.5, that tells you that's past history, guys, that they're adding into the line. Now, for me, the lean is over here, guys, and I would have punched the ticket for sure if he was at home. But instead, I was a vagina, and I started a half-unit alt parlay by pulling Aaron Nola down to 5 here. And I was going to hook it up to Logan Gilbert at 7 and get a plus 106 on that alt parlay right there. So at the end of the day, the lean is the over on 5.5, but I was the vagina who pulled it down to 5. Aaron Nola has had 5 or more strikeouts in every game since his velo's been back, except the game in Colorado where he only had 4. And we've talked the last 3 days about running K props in Colorado. That's just a no-no. So, let's talk about a guy where everything says over. If he was still the guy from last year, that is. And we're talking Cookie Monster here, guys. Number 52 in the black book, Carlos Carrasco at the Cubs. This year, he's got a 23.6 K percentage and a 6.4 walk percentage. Morning line, 5+ minus 108. On FanDuel, whereas closing line is still on FanDuel at the best prices, minus 112. 4.5 on PrizePicks, where his outs, earned run hits were not available on PrizePicks. Projected lineup for your Cubbies: 6 righties, 3 lefties. His K per 9 last season, as he's only pitched 18 innings this year, 5 starts, 18 innings, coming off the IL now. This will be his second start. So last year he had an 8.8 K per 9, where 11.7 on the road, and he straight averaged a K per 9 from both sides of the plate. And this is why I said it'd be a great spot if he was still the guy from last year. So the Cookie Monster is now in his second game back from the IL, which to me means that we can now bet on a guy. He did throw 80 pitches his last outing, so he should be good for what would be a normal workload. One of Sharpie's rules, guys, is I don't bet guys off the IL. That's just a recipe for a disaster. Let him pitch, then go watch a post-game interview on that guy and see how he feels, because you'd be surprised. These guys are humans, and they're pretty honest for the most part when it comes to how they performed and how their body reacted to facing major league competition again. Yes, he did go out there and have some minor league rehab assignment, but it's different, guys, when you're pitching in front of 500 people and 200 of them are vendors, and 40,000 people, and we're not talking the vendors. So difference in when you've got a bunch of people screaming at you, cheering you on, the adrenaline's running through your body then. So definitely got to let a guy get his toes wet when coming off the IL, and that's what Carrasco did last week going up against the Guardians. Now, from afar, guys, this looks like a great spot for Carrasco with the Cubs numbers. They're striking out at a stupid 28% clip, bottom 10 in average, yet 12th in OPS, but they are top 5 in ISO, and they're elite when it comes to walk percentages, which kept me off of Senga yesterday, guys, and he ended up losing by the hook and having 5 walks. So sometimes, guys, that walk percentage you need to pay attention more to than a K percentage. It can brutally ruin you, guys, if a team is going to walk. Now, let's get into why I wanted this guy. Last year, guys, he was averaging a K per inning pretty much versus each side of the plate. This guy would only need to go 5 innings versus these type of numbers, and he usually performed really, really well when he's seen these type of numbers and averaged like 6.42 Ks per 9. Ks per game in this type of spot. Now, the problem is he ain't that type of guy right now. He uses his fastball and his cutter about 50% of the time, and that's down more than a mile per hour than it was last season. Now, his spin rate is still the same as last year on that pitch, but the velocity is down, which is leading to his vertical break being down from last season. Now, Carrasco has only pitched 18 innings, and I do expect him to get back in line with where he was at last year. But I cannot guess and put my real money on Carrasco today, guys, because it would be a straight guess in my opinion. I'm not here to guess. I'm here to win money. So I can't even say I lean the over, which I did want going into this. But the velocity is down. The vertical break is down. And that's enough for me to say, have a good one, my guy, even though you're in a good spot. He ain't been that dude. And then I'll watch the game. And if he looks like the guy from last year, cool. I learned a lesson, maybe even a live betting situation there. But definitely need to see the guy looking like he did last year, not looking like Carlos Carrasco this year. I mean, God forbid anybody to have cancer. I've had family members and all that, dude. It's a terrible thing. I've never had it. I've never had to go through it. I wouldn't know, really. My family has, but Carlos Carrasco went through it, guys, is what I'm getting at. So he's always had an issue with his endurance since he came back from it. And he's always been a 4-5 type inning guy since then, when he was an elite guy with the Cleveland Indians back in the day before he had to go through what he went through. But I wouldn't know what that is and what actually that dude's had to fight through or anything. So that dude probably knows his body more than anything. And listening to this guy talk post game is key, guys, is huge. So if you want to bet on Carrasco today, go find yourself a fucking post-game interview of his Cleveland Guardians game and listen to him. If he says he feels comfortable, he feels good, blah, 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 that's on you. I need to see his velo up. I'll go watch him today. These are one of those games where he should go do what he should do if he is the Cookie Monster of last year. Now we get to talk a guy where we finish the half unit alt parlay in, and then we're going to get into the straight K prop of the day. So, Black Book number 32, Logan Gilbert versus the Oakland A's. 2023 has a 30.6K percentage with a 4.9 walk percentage. Opening line on FanDuel was 8 plus at plus 122. Closed out now on FanDuel at a minus 158 to the 7 plus. So it looks like there may be a minus 150 coming right around there. But every other book out there, guys, is 8 plus at around the plus 120-ish. So FanDuel was the only one who was even offering near that minus 160 range. PrizePicks has them at a flat 7, whereas hits allowed on PrizePicks under over are at 4.5. Projected lineup, which is I'm not believing these projected lineups on the A's. They said this same lineup last night, and we ended up getting 5 lefties. But they're projected 6 righties, 3 lefties. But with Gilbert, it don't matter. He averages an 11K per 9 from both sides of the plate this year. At home, he averages a 12.1K per 9. We're on the road a 10.3. He does only have 18 innings at home compared to 33 on the road. But going back through his short career, guys, he has averaged the same K per 9 home road. So in his short career. So no big deal that he does average 2 Ks per 9 more than home. I expect it to average itself out and probably be around that 12K per 9 both sides by the end. Excuse me, by the end of the year. Now, guys, we get to talk old Logan Gilbert and the Oakland A's tax. And this is one after earlier this season when Gilbert faced the A's. They dropped him to a 5.5. And people screamed trapped, and we bet it because I figured it out. And they put it at a 5.5 due to past history versus Gilbert. And we cashed by the hook on what may have been the last batter, guys, he's seen. It was a while back, but I do remember it being a sweat. Now, after back-to-back weeks of Gilbert's line being dropped to a 5.5, and he going 1-1 to the over, they jump him to a 7.5. Where over his last 10 games, guys, he's only hit that at a 30% clip. And we get that. Why? Because the Oakland A's numbers, that's why. Walking league average, yet striking out league worst. 28%, bottom 3 in all hitting categories over the last 15 days versus right-handed pitchers. So yeah, the books are tired of getting cracked by pitchers versus the A's. And they're going to start adding strikeouts to pitchers, especially to guys like Gilbert, who have actually ran up them strikeouts at times this year. Now, we talked a little of this past history at the beginning, but Gilbert has always had issues putting away these Oakland A's. Granted, he is a different pitcher this year, guys, than he was last year, as he has incorporated that nasty splitter to his arsenal. Gilbert's seen the A's 3 times last season. The first game, the numbers said yes to the over on his K prop, and he went 6 innings with only 3 strikeouts. He faced them again when the walk and strikeout numbers said no, but the hitting numbers said he could get it by being out there versus a team who can't hit, and Gilbert went 5 innings with only 4 strikeouts. He finished the year when the numbers are identical to what they are now. They were walking league average, striking out 27.3% of the time, and they weren't hitting. Gilbert went 8 innings, but he only had 4 strikeouts. Now, like I said, he ain't the same guy as last year, and we're getting these type of identical numbers. Ruh-roh, Shaggy, I get the 7.5. Now, he did see them this year when the numbers were just as bad as now, and the last time he faced them last year, and like I said, he struggled to hit the over 5.5. But he went 6 in 6 innings on only 88 pitches, guys. Now, the pitch I like to pick on the A's with is a slider or a good fastball. And Gilbert has a nice slider, guys. He ain't afraid to use it to go along with that nasty splitter that we did talk about. Now, his fastball velocity looks amazing, but it's not always about that, guys. It is a straight fastball with no spin rate. It goes straight. It don't cut. And he does use it in the upper quadrant of the zone when he does get you to swing and miss. Now, the 3 games, guys, where Gilbert has put up over 7.5 this year is the Brewers, Braves, and Rangers. And the only one that said play the over was the Rangers, and we cashed. Well, the Brewers and the Braves said no, and he still dealt. So what do the Brewers and the Braves have in common, guys? They're both bottom 6 in whiff percentage. All right, let's go see where the A's are at then. Oh, crap, the A's are fucking the second worst team in whiff percentage, and the strikeout numbers say yes. So everything which way says, guys, that he should go out there and deal and hit the over 8+ today. Now, I do not chase strikeouts like I don't chase women, and they jumped him up one. So I'll pull him down to where he belongs. And this is how I finished my half unit alt parlay, and I got plus 106. I took Gilbert down to 7, and I took Nola down to 5. And that's the way I felt comfortable in both of those games. Even though I do like the overs, I'm a safe type of bettor if you don't know me. And I've got a vagine when it comes to betting at times. Today, guys, we only had 5 guys in the book to talk about. So let's talk about one more guy. And that guy got added to the motherfucking book, guys, as I went game by game and added in the numbers and was like, oh, all right. You cash when you're supposed to, and you don't when the numbers say no. I can fuck with that, my guy. That's what I like to see. Now, that's how we're going to keep this guy at a bettable number, guys. And I'm talking the only straight bet I have in today, and that's JP Sears of the Oakland A's. Yeah, guys, I just said I'm going to bet on an A's pitcher. But like I said, he's done his job when facing teams with a 24% K percentage or worse this year. Let's talk JP game by game real quick. He faced the Guardians, Orioles, and Mets to start the year. Okay, bro, good job. All 3 of those teams, you need a real good freaking reason to run a K prop with the lefty versus. And he didn't end up with more than 5. He had no less than 3. With the big deal, guys. This is how we keep a guy's K prop down. Then he's seen a Rangers team who didn't have enough plate appearances versus left-handed pitchers when he's seen them, but the numbers haven't changed much since they've been trackable, guys. And that's they strike out a lot, but yet they hit the dog piss out of lefties, guys. And he did get hit hard, guys, in that game, but he put up 11 strikeouts. Then he faced an Angels team, guys, who has done damage to middle of the rotation type of guys like Sears. And he got popped when the numbers said he would, guys. So no big deal there. Now, he got his first matchup versus these Mariners when they were not walking and striking out at a 26.1% clip. And they weren't hitting for the life of them, guys, and he dealt 6 innings with 7 strikeouts. Then he seen the team he was drafted by in the New York Yankees. The numbers said no. He got popped. No problem. But he was dealing until he went through the 3rd time of the lineup, guys, versus a really good Yankees team by the numbers. So 3rd time through is when he got popped. No big deal. Then he seen a Rangers team, guys, where they were walking at league percent, and they had some of the best hitting numbers in the fucking league. But they were also striking out at a 26% clip. And he went 5.1 innings with 6 strikeouts. And then had an abnormally last week, guys, where everything said no. And every time when everything said no with JP Sears this year, he ain't hit. Well, he dealt versus a team who over the past few years have been a no easy pony to strike out versus left-handed pitching, guy. And we're talking about the Astros. He went 6 innings with 7 strikeouts there, guys. So when Sears has seen a team with a K percentage of 24 or worse this year, good walk percentage or bad walk percentage, he is 3-0 to the over 5.5, averaging 8 strikeouts a game. Wiggle room, motherfuckers. And yeah, these Seattle Mariners numbers are really bad right now, guys. We've got that K percentage in that 28% clip. Their hitting numbers are a little bit better than where they were at last time, but they're still middle of the pack to end of the pack, guys. So they're walking league average. They're striking out at a crazy clip. And this is a recipe that this year JP Sears is 3-0 in. So JP Sears, welcome to the club. Let me thank you for doing business with you later on tonight. If you're tuning in, guys, just for the recap, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. It does help the algorithms a lot. Today on the Balking Dead, we talk 6 pitchers with adding in another guy to the book. And that guy happens to be the only straight bet I have in today. We started the day with Blake Snell, and if you don't know what I think of him by now, then save yourself, because there is no way I can think over until he figures life and baseball out. The next guy up was Lucas Giolito, guys. How they opened him at a 6.5 and now at a very bettable 5.5. I let it go myself. Then what was my biggest lean of the day, guys, but I let it go when it was all said and done, was Aaron Nola over 5.5 strikeouts. I did end up starting a half unit alt parlay with Nola at 5+, and I hooked him to Gilbert at 7+, and I got plus 106. Now, if he was at home, it would have pushed me over the edge on that straight 5.5, but it is what it is. Then we talked the Cookie Monster, Carlos Carrasco, guys, and how he's in a great spot. But because his velo has been down and his vertical drop has been down, I've just got to let him go, guys. The next guy on the board was Logan Gilbert, and what is a dream matchup from the baseball gods. And the books know that, and they added on a strikeout to his over today and put him at a 7.5. Now, we all know I don't chase women or K props. I bet averages, not when a book likes to fuck with them. So I did finish my half unit alt parlay by pulling Gilbert down to where he belongs at 7. And like I said, I hooked him up to Nola at 5+ and got a plus 106. Now we finished the day, guys, by adding in JP Sears of the Oakland A's into the book. Yeah, I said Oakland A's. Through 9 games this year, he has hit his over all 3 times when in this type of spot, guys, and he's 1-5 to the over when not in this spot. So I'm on his over 5.5 strikeouts at minus 128, and it's my only straight bet of the day. The best place out now is DK, and they have him still up at a minus 130. Like I said earlier in the show, guys, I'm seeing the board really well this week. There's no need for me to press. I did have a bad Monday, but I would still bet those spots again as I wasn't pressing. Shit just didn't go my way that day. And like I said, guys, at the beginning, we're now adding in timestamps for those who are busy. Every pitcher we cover will have its own timestamp with the breakdown if you just want to skip through and hit that 1 to 2 minute recap of the bets for the day. Shout out to you all for pulling in. We pulled 50+ live on a Thursday on a moving day. Smash the like where I go through and see if any of you guys want me to talk about a pitcher. Appreciate Nilo, my man. Always like to see that big green. Appreciate all the members of Pub Sports. And yes, sir. Looks like nobody wants to talk anybody else. So, yeah, definitely was looking at Gilbert for the win as well. I saw somebody on that with him pulled down. But at the end of the day, this team sucks versus lefties. Yeah, they got to Waddle Cuck last night. I'm not sold on the Mariners yet. Yes, they are the better team. Yes, they have the better pitcher. Yes, they have the better bats, the better bullpen. But at the end of the day, baseball just doesn't always happen to go the way it's supposed to go. Yes, the A's have lost 8 straight. Yeah, I get it. But I just think this game is it's either Seattle blows them out or it's a dead under. And when it's a dead under, you do not want to be involved on a minus 250 because single shot, bro. The first person to rock you wins the game type game. So at the end of the day, I get it. I couldn't bet the A's if I wanted to. There's no way you would catch me doing that. So I get it. Appreciate you all for tuning in to the best MLB prop show on earth, The Balking Dead. If you haven't, hit the like button on your way out. And let's get to the mother trucking monies. This show is sponsored by PrizePicks. So if you haven't, go on over there. Use that promo code PubSports. Get a match deposit up to $100. Minimum of $25 on your first deposit simply by using that promo code. Big show, it's Thursday. That means you did your show, yes?
No show this week. No MMA this week.
Hey, Billy! Billy's here! We've got a new producer today. All right, guys. Appreciate you all for tuning in. I'm Sharpie's Bets. And we got the Pirate Pistol out 2 days in a row, guys. And good things tend to happen when I buckle in. So let's finish this week off strong. Fuck the bookies.
Where's the bang bang, Preston? Come on.
I can't breathe.
Pub Sports Radio. Come find us in Southtown 101. Subscribe on YouTube and all platforms where podcasts are found.